Hello guys, Belle here for another edition of your Spell and Talent preview. This time we are going to be doing the Discipline Priest. I wanted to show you guys what your artifact weapon is, which is Light's Wrath. I will be doing a series of artifact weapon videos previewing some of the animations, some of the stats, the ways that this is going to help with your gameplay and kind of meld with your spells a little bit in each spec of Legion. Those will be coming as soon as I finish all of the spec and talent preview videos. Hopefully within the next week. I've been working really hard to try to get this content out as fast as possible. I don't know if you guys have also noticed you do have a new, more condensed stat window. A lot of you might freak out when you first see this just because we're used to so much more in this window. I do feel like for myself, this does make it a little bit easier for me to really get the information that I'm interested in and looking for. So although it feels like there's less, I feel like this is more, in my opinion. Now let's talk about the way that Discipline is going to be played. Some of your core defensive and offensive abilities. Yes, I said offensive because there's going to be a lot of moments where you're going to be doing damage here. That's going to be an integral part of your heals rotation. Being able to do damage as a healer, I know is sacrilege, right? We're thinking we should just be healing. We shouldn't be doing damage. How many of us as healers, though, because you guys know, any of you that do know me, I do main a destruction lock. So any ult that I have, I heal on, right? So the reason I do that is because I only like DPS on my destruction lock, but I enjoy healing in certain elements and aspects. So this is really nice for me because as a DPS class, I do enjoy healing, but it's really difficult for me to just stand there and heal. Sometimes when my heals aren't needed because we're over heals in raid or whatever the case may be, it's nice for me to be able to have some nice bursty damage abilities, which is basically what they've done here in Legion. Now, coming from a person who always heals all the time, I don't really know how you guys are going to feel about that. I'm hoping that this is something that you guys can acclimate to, as I did enjoy checking it out. Now, your mastery here is going to be your absolution. This is going to increase the healing transferred through atonement by 28%. So this is going to be pretty amazing here. Your atonement is going to be your passive here. Your plea, your power word, shield, shadow mend, also apply atonement to your target for 15 seconds. This is going to be, this is going to be something pretty awesome. So the more allies that you have atonement on, the more total healing and damage, the more total healing that a damage spell will cause. So this is going to be, it's going to be pretty interesting to see the way that this plays out. Now for your defensives, you have plea, shadow mend, power word, shield, and power word radiance. For your offensives, you're going to have smite, mind blast, penance, revelation, and shadow word pain. Your discipline specific talent is going to be grace. This is of course one of your passives here. It does increase your non-atonement healing and absorption by 30% on targets with atonement. So let's take a look at what we're going to be seeing here. Now I know that some of you might not be in the know as far as news when it comes to alpha, but in case you were not aware, mass resurrection was something that was given here because in the RP of this of what we do here in World of Warcraft, it makes sense that a healer would be able to mass resurrect the raid. I know mass resurrection is something that we love having in a guild, obviously, but I think this was nice as far as the fantasy of a healer and making this their role, right? Make the priest, make the, all your heal classes, make them do the resurrecting. I think that's pretty awesome. I, for one, was for this. I know some people were kind of weirded out about it, but I think that we're thinking too much about it, and I think it's going to be okay. So here you can see some of your abilities here. You still have your core things that make you a priest. Your levitate, your leap of faith. Those kind of things. Those are going to be an integral part of the class and the spec in general. So it's still nice to see that you do still have a lot of these abilities here. They didn't take. I don't really know what they took away. I planned on doing comparison videos, but it's really difficult for one person to play all the classes. I'm trying to be a little bit more swappable in that aspect and make sure that I play more of the classes so that I could have more of an idea of kind of what you guys are going through. And when I say you guys, I'm talking about the ones that main these specific specs here. Because just because I say it's fun or I say it's awesome or I enjoy the way this is played, it doesn't mean I really know what I'm missing or what we've kind of been through expansions and all the changes of a class. Those of you that main these specs and main these roles, you guys guys would know more than me kind of what's good or bad here. So my job in this instance is just to kind of give you all that information and make sure that you guys are well informed so that you guys can prepare yourselves to make these type of decisions. You should also know that this is alpha. So if you see things when it comes to like a major role class, like a healer, if you see things that you dislike, just keep in mind that because it is an alpha, a lot of things change, guys. This changes from build to build. So we can rely on the community, those of us that have alpha, to give good quality feedback here to make sure that the developers are on track and really following both what they want to see envisioned in the end game here of the playstyle of each spec and role, as well as the players being able to enjoy it. So let's talk a little bit about your talents here. So for your first set of talents, you have the Pennant. The Pennant is a passive. Penance may be cast on a friendly target, healing them for 137k. Now this is at your base stats. This is over 1.8 seconds. With your Penance, this now does damage. So it's a channeled spell. You launch a volley of holy light at the target, causing extreme amount of holy damage to an enemy, or 180 whatever healing on an ally over time. Now this is castable by moving. I did spec into this as far as talent is concerned. So if you don't have this up, you won't be healing with Penance, you'll be DPSing with Penance. In this same tree, in the same talent set, you have Castagian. I think I'm saying that right. If I'm not, it's okay. At the end of the day, you guys can see it, you know what I mean. This is a passive ability. Penance fires one additional bolt of holy light over its duration. I can see some times when that might be useful, although as a healer, I think it would also be nice for you to have one spell that you could swap back and forth, whether you're on a friendly target or you're on an enemy target, and be able to heal or do damage. I think that makes this a really great utility in a lot of aspects, including PvP. So I'm super excited to kind of test this out. I'll be doing some PvP breakdown of all the specs. I'm excited to kind of see how this plays out in a PvP situation. You also have, I'm not even going to try to say that, guys, because it's really late. Schism? Schism? I don't really know. Don't really care because it's late and I mean, if you guys are going to judge me over a word, then we're not friends. So just be a friend to me and know what I mean. It is a cast. It is a 6-second cooldown. You attack the enemy's soul with a surge of shadow energy, dealing, it looks like a pretty good amount. You're over at 108k with my base primal combatant gear. Wild combatant gear, actually, excuse me, that's what they give you when you roll a 110 in alpha. Does shadow damage and increasing damage that you deal to the target by 30% for 6 seconds. You can see some times when you might want to choose to use this as your talent, although I'm still all the way for this one. I'm 100% all the way just because of the versatility that you're going to be able to use here. Now your next set of stuff, this is just going to be your personal preference here. You have your angelic feather. This is inherent to what a priest does. Whenever I'm in any kind of instance with a disc priest, I just automatically assume they're spec'd in 2 feathers so that I can be fast, because I'm a warlock, and unless I choose to use that talent, the Burning Rush, then I'm slow. You also have Body and Soul. This is a passive ability. Your Power Word, Shield, and Leap of Faith increase your target's movement speed by 40% for 3 seconds. This could be a huge useful utility when it comes to PvP, especially if they're trying to make a last push for the flag room. Whatever the case may be, I think this would be really useful here. This also could be really useful in PvE to use over your feather to give the raid a chance to move quickly for certain mechanics. So you guys are priests that do this every day. You know when you would want to use it against what. They're just now making you choose between it. And then, of course, your Masochism, which is also a passive ability. When you cast Shadow Mend on yourself, its damage over time effect heals you instead. Now, your Shadow Mend, this wraps an ally in shadows, which heals for a really great amount, but at a price. Now, the ally will take a certain amount of damage every 1 second until they have taken, here they have 80k total damage from all sources or leave combat. So it is a really, really super powerful heal, because at my base stats here in my artifact weapon, we're at 160k for that heal. So you're going to get a lot of heals here, but you're going to have to push back to get it. But this will allow you to cast it on yourself, and then its damage over time effect instead is gonna heal you. So good utility here if it's something that you need if you want to add that into your rotation, this will just have to be something you guys will have to play with and find what's good for you. Your next set, which is level 45, you have Shining Force. This is an instant ability. It is on 1 minute cooldown. Now, this creates a burst of light around a friendly target, knocking away nearby enemies and slowing their movement speed by 70% for 3 seconds. Super powerful knockback here. Used in a lot of resources here when it comes to doing arenas. Probably not so much arenas, but you'd probably use Psychic Voice more for arenas, but I think this would be really useful in RPGs and stuff like that, especially if you're doing a lot of solo questing and you've overpulled, as a lot of us do, then yeah, there's that. Now for your Psychic Voice, this reduces the cooldown of your Psychic Scream, so this would probably be something that would be a really, really good utility for you to use, because your Psychic Scream does cause enemies to flee. So this is... It's 5 enemies here within 8 yards to flee, so this is essentially an AoE. You know, this is an AoE. Sorry, lost my train of thought here. This is going to be an AoE, you know, stun. This is going to be able to buy you that 5 seconds that you might need to get some heals off, whatever the case may be. There's probably a lot of instances, mostly PvP related, where you would choose to use that in this specific set, and then also you have your Dominant Mind. Now this is a passive ability. You may also control your own character while mind control is active, and mind control now lasts 1 minute, but it may not be used against other players. Those of you that main priest here, you would know when this would be useful. Because I don't main a priest, I'm not really sure what this utility what situations they would be useful. Feel free to comment and maybe give me some heads up, like, hey, I feel like this would be used here. I'm always looking to learn more about classes that I don't main every day. For your next set, which is going to be your level 60, you have your Power Word Solace, which I've actually chosen here, and I think it's just because I wanted to show you what it did. So this is on a 10.7 second cooldown. This is an instant ability. It does strike an enemy with heavy power, or heavenly power, dealing... This is about 90k holy damage and restoring 0.75% of your maximum mana. This could be really useful, especially because it's helped giving you back a little bit of your mana. I don't really know that there's enough of that mana for it to be a thing, but any kind of little bit of helper could really make or break any type of gameplay here, whether it's your last push on a boss because your boss is almost dead in your or if you're in PvP and you might be in an arena and it's literally this last heal might make or break whether or not you guys win. You also have your Shield Discipline. This is a passive ability. When your Power Word Shield is completely absorbed, you instantly regenerate 1% of your maximum mana. I think that's probably pretty legit, and it's probably pretty useful as well. Because it's a passive ability, this actually might be better than this whole situation here. I know that I like a lot of passive abilities when it comes to taking things out of my rotation, because then I don't want to have to pick and choose sometimes. Sometimes passive abilities do make it a little bit easier because it's already kind of in my rotation. It really just depends on what I'm doing in game to want to have a larger rotation or cut it back a little bit. Your Mindbender, which is the last set in the level 60s, this does replace your Shadow Fiend. It's a 1 minute cooldown. You summon a Mindbender to attack the target for 12 seconds. You regenerate 0.75% of your maximum mana each time your Mindbender attacks. This to me seems like it's going to be super useful as well. I'm actually going to pop that down here just because I want to see what that looks like. So that's actually pretty useful because you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting something that's going to attack, and you're also regenerating mana as well. Now, for your level 75, you have Contrition, which this is a passive ability. It increases atonement duration by 3 seconds. Pretty awesome in the sense of atonement is what it's all about when it comes to Discipline Priest. So you might want to consider throwing that in there. But you also have Power Infusion. Even though this is a 2 minute cooldown, it's going to infuse you with power for 20 seconds, increasing haste by 25% and reducing the mana cost of all spells by 20%. Reducing mana cost here, even though it's on a 2 minute cooldown, I think that there's going to be a lot of instances when you will need this in your rotation, especially on a pretty lengthy fight when you know you're already going to run out of mana. This will be really, really good utility for you. But then again, in this same set, you have your Twist of Fate. Now, it is a passive ability. After healing a target below 35% health, you deal 20% increased damage and 20% increased healing for 10 seconds. Ugh, which one to choose here? Because these three are actually quite wonderful. It's really crappy that Blizzard makes you choose, but then again, we can't have our cake and eat it too. So this is going to be this whole subset of utilities here is going to be something that you guys are going to want to pick and choose according to your style of gameplay and what you feel is more useful. For your level 90, you have Clarity of Will. Does have a little bit of a long cast time. Your shield, you shield the target with a protective ward for 20 seconds, absorbing a lot of damage. This here at my base stats with my artifact weapon is 166k. I can only imagine with proper gear what that would look like. And it doesn't have a cooldown, so although it has a really, really long cast, I think that's pretty nice. You also have your Divine Star. It is on a 15-second cooldown. Now, what this does is this fires a Divine Star forward, healing all allies in its path. I mean, it's an average heal, but it is an additional heal to kind of put in your toolbox, and it also deals a certain amount of holy damage to enemies. Now, after reaching its destination, the Divine Star returns to you, healing allies and damaging enemies in its path again. So this goes 24 yards out, which 30-yard range, but within 24 yards. So you're already healing and doing damage as this sucker's going out. Then when it's coming back to you, it's doing damage and healing as well. So for me, this is a 2-for-1. You're getting it both ways. You're getting damage and you're getting healing, and you're doing it on the way there and on the way back. I think that this is a win. I'm going to actually use this one because I want to see what it looks like as far as spell animations go. But super powerful in a lot of ways, in my opinion. If I'm wrong, you guys can totally tell me I'm wrong. But once again, it's simply my opinion. I'm not that important. The last set here in your level 90s is going to be Halo. Now, this is on a 40-second cooldown, small cast time, not as much as the Divine Star. Does create a ring of holy energy around you that quickly expands to a 30-yard radius, healing allies for about 60 and dealing damage for about 77 to all enemies. So the difference between the Divine Star and the Holy Range is you're doing less damage on the way there and on the way back, but I think that that damage on the way there and on the way back might actually equal to probably what you're putting out here with this Halo. If I were to be thinking about this, I would be considering the Divine Star over the Halo because of the cast time. That's literally what I would be considering. And the cooldown's actually lower. What I would probably do is have to compare the healing and damage that goes out and comes back in its total to find out which one would be the more powerful of the two. We could actually check that out towards the end of the video just so we could see if we could do a little bit of theory crafting on our own to find out which one would be useful. But to me, I would take the instant spell with a lesser cooldown because it's doing damage there and back. It just doesn't say how much damage it does on the way back. So that would be important. For your last set here, you have the Purge the Wicked. This does replace your Shadow Word Pain. It's an instant ability and it is a 10-second cooldown, which is really small. It does cleanse the target with fire, causing a good amount of fire damage. Looks like it's about 30k here and an additional 163 fire damage over 20 seconds. That is a huge amount of damage. It spreads to an additional enemy when you cast Penance on the target, which, because I have the pennant here, I can heal and do DPS with my one spell, which is wicked cool. Your Grace is a passive ability here. It increases your non-atonement healing and absorption by 30% on targets with atonement. We talked about this being a discipline only ability, so you guys will have to figure out if this is going to be something that you want to use in your tool belt. But since it is a discipline only ability, I can imagine that in Blizzard's mind this would be one of the strongest of this three. But once again, it is going to come down to gameplay. The last one here is going to be the old Shadow Covenant. This does replace your Power Word Radiance. It has a little bit of a long cast time, draws on the power of the shadow to heal up 5 injured allies within 30 yards of the target for 104k, but leaves a shell on them that absorbs the next 52 healing they receive within 6 seconds. This is super powerful because you're already putting out a really massive heal, and there's no cooldown, although the cast time, literally guys, the cast times kill me for some of these things. Which, I mean, this is just the nature of things, cast times. But the absorb and the heal itself seems like it's going to be super powerful. Not really sure what I would choose in this instance, to be perfectly honest. I'm going to do the Shadow Covenant because I want to see what it looks like. But yeah, this is pretty much what you're looking at as far as your as far as what we have here. So let's get into a couple. I want to see. So that's your good old, that's doing pretty good. I want to see what happens when I have myself targeted here. And then as you see, I healed myself. That's such a beautiful thing, guys. You have your pain suppression. This is your normal. You guys are used to seeing that. Here's your shadow bend. It's doing a lot of fancy stuff. There's your plea. This is going to be a quick, a quick little heal. just a little fast. Let's just click all the things. And then you have your barrier here. Now I want to just take a look here. Here's your ability for your artifact weapon. So that's the ability that you got there, which this draws upon the power of the light, dealing 54k radiant damage to the target per ally affected with your atonement. So if atonement's up, you're going to be able to get that. And then I wanted to show you, so this is the Divine Star. So as you saw the Divine Star shot back at me, I didn't get a chance to see... 80. So... let me just do it one more time. Okay, so the Divine Star's total damage, 30. So when it went out and then when it came back. So let's just do it one more time just to be safe. So it did get a nice crit. It got a 37k crit. So it's almost as much, actually. It is almost as much as Halo. Let's pop... wait for this to go off cooldown, and then we'll pop it real quick. So let's put this in its place and let's see. Okay, so I'm glad that we theory crafted on that one, guys, because that did a massive amount, and it was a crit. That was beautiful. I think it's safe to say that Halo is going to be your go-to, maybe in this instance, even perhaps over Clarity of Will. That was super powerful. Wow, that was amazing. Here's your Shadow Covenant. Here's your good old Mindbender. There's your squid humping. Basically, it just looks like it's humping. I don't know if I'm the only one that feels that way. And then, you know, you have your Shadow Word Pain. And then you have your Smite, in case you guys wanted to see. I don't think they've done any serious changes to Smite. But that's what it's looking like, guys. I'm really glad we did that little theory crafting there, because that Halo, I want to see if it gets... yeah, look at that. That's so nice. Yeah, that's super nice. And then it just popped Atonement, so... yeah, that was really good, guys. I think that was good. I'm glad we got to do that. So now you guys got the answer to the question. But this video was a little bit longer than I intended, but I think with the Discipline Priest, it was needed to have a little bit longer of a video. I'm fortunate that I do dabble in healing priests, so I had a little bit more understanding of what happens when it comes to discipline. I am going to be doing all the videos for the Disc Priest, as well as all the specs, or all the videos for the Priest, as well as all the specs in Legion. If you like this video, if you're watching this video, take the time to give me a little like. I work really hard to put this stuff out for you guys. I really hope you guys are enjoying this series. It's been really, really fun for me to do. And if there's something specific you would like to see in Legion, please don't hesitate to comment on the video and let me know something you would like to see, and I'll add it to my list and I'll get it done for you. I have alpha for this specific reason, so I can show you guys what it is you guys need to see. Make sure that you guys, if you're new to PWNCAST YouTube channel, make sure you give us a little subscribe. I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching.